everyone. Welcome to X's and O's with LeRoy Butler. And we'll get right at it here. And we're going to look at the Giants' defense, which they're pretty multiple defense. They'll sometimes play zone. They'll sometimes play man-to-man. They'll sometimes blitz. They'll sometimes only play rush four. But what we're looking at here is a nickel situation in the red zone. Yeah. And the reason we picked this play was because we've seen the Packers run this formation. This was Cincinnati. They're on offense here, Andy Dalton, and they're running back here. And they have two tight ends in this, what the Packers call a flex position. Yeah. And they're back off the line a little bit so they can't get bumped at the line. And essentially, they have this option of either running with these two tight ends, it's a running formation, or they can pass. So why don't you kind of show what happened here exactly?
I think for the most part, too, we're going to just, for the sake of argument, we're going to say this is Crabtree and this is Jermichael Finley.
Right.
And the reason why we got them flex, Tom, because we're getting such a huge rush, we're going to chip these OCU Manura and
Pierre-Paul.
We're going to chip them. If we don't chip them, we're going to make them think we are.
Right.
So I think for the most part, it slows the rush down. When we say chip them to the audience, we basically saying before you go out, we're going to run into you and basically knock you into the pile so T.J. Lane has a better angle to pass protect.
Throw a shoulder right into him, right?
And you've
seen Finley flatten some guys on that rush, too.
Matter of fact, it's his best block.
Yeah, but here they don't. This is going to wind up being a passing play. The Giants are in what kind of coverage are they?
They're in a true cover 4, which most teams play. And what you try to do is a quarter. Everybody has a quarter here. You know, you just have a quarter, and your middle linebacker is a little deep right here, and just everybody is just kind of a zone, you know.
They're flooding the area.
Yeah, everything should be covered, and you're hoping your front four sack the quarterback.
Right.
But they got a tight end, Grisham, who's a pretty good tight end, and we're thinking that's Philly. What I think you pointed out, which was great, was his alignment. He was beat. Entree was beat on alignment. He has to be inside of number 2.
You pointed that out. I'm not that smart.
Well, no, but you also said about the leverage part of it. But when he came up here and he ran what we call an 8 route, he stuck his foot in the ground, and he came here, and it was a beautiful throw. And what outside, you got a wide receiver coming up here, and what we call a China technique.
And we've seen Jordy Nelson run this a lot. You know, this is one of his favorite routes.
Because what you can do right here, if you can see this play right here, what you can do if you're not covered, you can just keep coming. And now the quarterback can go from high to low here and Aaron in his progression. But Dalton made a wonderful throw, Tom, right there for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Now you got to think the Green Bay Packers can do that on either side, or they can go max protection. It's a lot of things you can do in this formation. So if I'm the Giants, what we used to do, me and Eugene, if we always felt like they had a receiving tight end like a Shannon Sharp, we would rotate to his side. So in other words, I would rotate to the middle to take that away. This corner would take the deep quarter. Now this nickelback, he would take this other quarter. So you have 3 guys deep to take that away. But for some reason, the Giants aren't doing it the last 3 weeks. They've been getting up a lot of yards. Yeah. So with that being said, look for opportunity in the red zone. Look for Jermichael Finley down the middle. Or, you know, for the most part, you could put 87 in there, 89 in there.
18.
You could put 18, and it makes it even worse.
The big thing here is that he's got a free release because he's a tight end, right? You know, so if this is Cobb, they might not want to give him a free release like that.
Now, one thing Pierre-Paul has done in the past, he stands up and he stands right over your wide receiver just to try to jam him.
Right.
But if he does that, now you only got 3 guys rushing. You can exploit other areas.
Or you could audible into a run play, too,
Or you can audible into a run play right to this side right here with Alex Green. I'm assuming Alex Green is going to get 5 to 7 carries. It won't be so much 25 carry James Starr. I think they'll put Alex Green in this week.
Yeah, I think they'll probably share rushes. But anyway, so we'll look for this formation and see if the Packers go to it inside the red zone. And stick with us. We're going to look at the Giants' offense and how they can run 2 really dangerous plays out of one formation.
You can follow me on Twitter at Leap36 and Facebook as well at Leap36.
Okay, we're going to look at a Giants play, and this was also against the Bengals. And this kind of shows you a little bit of how deceptive they can be and very, very solid offensive game plan. Why don't you show, they're out of a shotgun formation with Manning here and Ahmad Bradshaw there. And this is an interesting run play. So how does this work exactly?
I think for the most part, if you look at the nickel defense, when a guard pulls, hey, it's run, and everybody just kind of flies to the ball. But the good thing about the Giants' offense, they can go either way when they pull. And when they pull this guard, it just seems like when people, they say like a trap play, Bradshaw, he can hit this hole or he could take it outside. And for the most part, these linebackers, they'll kind of flow. When they see the guard pulls, they go with the guard, and he'll cut right behind them for a big play. Now, if you're a safety, you're thinking, well, that ball should not get past the front seven. But they also know if you got Victor Cruz in there, he's not in there to block.
Right.
Okay? Now, if you see 88 in there, it's maybe a true run. But if you see 80 inside and you see to the backside, which is the strength, it's a set inside of the strength, this is the weak side, possibly pass. So, Tom, they run the same play.
Right.
Same play, but Manning has always been one of the best play-action quarterbacks. Ball handling, sticks the ball out. But general rule for your safety, if you see the word Manning, a quarterback's name, get depth. But against these guys, this safety, when he saw the play action, he bit up just for a second. Victor Cruz ran like a straight 9 route, and Nick's ran a 9 route. He was wide open and he dropped it. He hit him in a bad spot, hit him right in the hand.
Yeah, and this safety tried to get over and was late. This guy was in no man's land.
All you need is for this guy to bite and your safety just take 2 steps.
Right.
Remember now, he's already lined up about 15 yards deep. So for you to get behind him, he has to really take a hard jab at it. And what I always tell safeties, you can't make this play anyway. Don't even go that way. You got to make sure you understand what you're in there for. Safety. You got to do safety, back up.
Right.
If you take that step back instead of frontwards, you're covered. Because now Manning has to make a decision. Do I look at one-on-one outside and throw it, or do I just force it in there? And I was shocked to see that, but I could understand one thing, Tom.
Yeah.
And you did point this out, the guard pulling is kind of deception. Because in your notes, you say when they pull the guard, they run the ball 51% of the time. So I'm going to take my averages and just come up. But that one time you do that, if you're the Packers, it could be a touchdown.
Right.
So these young guys, 42, 22, 43, they got to be disciplined this week.
And they will do it this way, but actually in the passing play, they stayed, this guy stayed, he didn't block. So in that case, right, isn't that the safety's read, is to see if the guy's pulling?
Absolutely. If he stays there and block, you're fine. If he pulls, you're thinking, well, but for the most part, with 80 is the key, Tom.
Right.
If you look up and see 80 in the slot, they ain't putting him in there to block.
Right.
They're putting him there to get him deep. So don't take the false step. The one false step can cost you a touchdown.
The interesting part, though, is that, okay, if you do that, and you have to do it, like you said, because it's Victor Cruz.
Right.
But they were getting like 8, 9 yards around here.
Yes.
And so they could just keep on doing it.
Yep.
And as we saw in the playoff game, remember when Bradshaw came over here and then ran all the way over there with Charlie Pepper chasing them all over the place? You got to be disciplined for the run game as well.
And you got plays to where, Knicks come in, catches a pass, 3 Packers fall off on him, and he takes it 40 yards for a touchdown. Big plays like that makes small plays like this. You're thinking, I want to come up and stop the run because, again, Bradshaw does have on film when he put 200 yards on somebody. So he can carry the load. That one step can cost you a touchdown.
Right.
So far, these young guys, they've been very disciplined.
Much better than last year, that's for sure.
So don't lose your discipline. I think you'll be fine.
Yep. I'm pretty certain we'll see some form of this play on
you may see it once, twice a quarter until they get the big shot.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us for X's and O's with LeRoy Butler, and we'll be back after the Giants game next week.
You can follow me on Twitter at Leap 36 as well as Facebook at Leap 36.